Imagine a place where no one can see you, not the government, not the police, not even your internet service provider. This is a place where censorship does not exist and you can say whatever you want, as much as you want, and about whoever you want, but at the same time, drugs, forged documents, and millions of stolen personal data are being sold there. This world is called the dark net or the dark internet, and what is most surprising is that it was created not by criminals or hackers, but by the United States Navy. Today in this video, you will learn the history of the dark net. What is the dark net really? Let's start with the main misunderstanding. The internet that we know, Google, YouTube, Facebook, is only a small part of it. Imagine a large iceberg. The space above the water that we see is the free internet, the surface web. These are the sites and the part of the internet that you simply find using Google. According to experts, it makes up only 5% of the entire internet, while below this surface, what we see covered by water, that is already the deep web, and it is much larger and deeper. This is everything that is not indexed by search engines. Your email, bank accounts, internal company systems, hospital databases. This is not dangerous at all, it is simply closed off from public access. You probably used the deep web several times today yourself, you just didn't even think about it. The darknet is a specific part of the deep web and you cannot access it with a regular internet browser. For this, you will need a special browser. For example, one such special browser is Tor, the Onion browser. To be more precise and accurate, it is the Onion router. Darknet sites do not have regular addresses like, for example, google.com. They end with a special suffix .onion and it is simply impossible to open them with a regular browser. The name was not chosen or invented by accident. Tor wraps your data like layers of an onion, encrypts it and routes it through 3 randomly selected servers on the internet. These servers are called nodes. The first node sees who you are but does not know where you are going. The last node sees where you are going but does not know who you are. The middle node sees nothing at all, it only passes the encrypted data between the previous and next points. The darknet was not created for criminals. This is probably the most unexpected fact on this topic. You are probably surprised too. Back in the 1990s, 3 visionary scientists at the US Naval Research Laboratory, David Goldschlag, Michael Reed, and Paul Siverson, first developed a groundbreaking concept that they called onion routing. This innovative idea would eventually go on to fundamentally change how we think about online privacy. Their goal was to find a way for American intelligence offices to communicate on the internet such that neither the enemy nor the internet service provider itself could know who was talking to whom. Imagine a spy working in a foreign country. He needs to send information home without anyone realizing where it is being sent from. The idea was revived in the early 2000s. 2 more people were added to these 3 groups. MIT graduate Roger Dingledine and his colleague Nick Mathewson, who worked together to release the Tor code in 2002 under a free and open source software license. This was a smart and correct decision because everyone could verify this code and people would realize that there was nothing dangerous there. By doing this, they emphasized that no one is watching you. By 2003, dozens of volunteer nodes were already operating around the world. In 2004, the project began to be funded by well-known advocacy organizations, and in 2006, the Tor project was officially established as a non-profit organization. In short, simply put, the more ordinary people used this network daily, the harder it would become to determine which user was a spy and which was an ordinary citizen. The security of the darknet comes precisely from the fact that millions of harmless people use it. The more diverse this crowd is, the harder it is to find specific individuals within it. Imagine, this company is even funded by the American government. Just imagine how crazy that is. Various government agencies are simultaneously funding a tool that prevents other agencies from tracking people. Where did the dark reputation come from? In 2010 and 2011, during the Arab Spring, activists and journalists in Egypt and other authoritarian countries used Tor to bypass censorship and share information. And in 2013, when Edward Snowden revealed information that the government was mass surveilling and eavesdropping on people, the number of Tor and Tor users increased even further. People started protecting their simple personal servers. As you have already realized, the darknet has 2 sides. This is of course the bright side for doing good deeds and protecting information, but there is also a dark side. The dark side whose history is just beginning, and I will tell you about it. Silk Road, the first big dark market. In 2011, a young American physics graduate, Ross Ulbricht, under the pseudonym Dread Pirate Roberts, a name borrowed from the movie The Princess Bride, founded a platform called Silk Road. This was the first large-scale market on the darknet, where they bought and sold mainly drugs using Bitcoin. Also, and most importantly, fake documents and other illegal goods. The platform worked almost like a regular online store. Reviews, seller ratings, customer support. Silk Road operated for over 2 years before the FBI arrested Ulbricht in a San Francisco public library in 2013. An agent intentionally started a verbal argument with him. While the computer was still on, they were able to decrypt it, after which they apprehended him on the spot. In 2015, he was sentenced to 2 life terms plus an additional 40 years. The court ruled that Ulbricht was required to pay approximately $183 million in restitution based solely on the value of the drugs and fake documents sold on the platform. This story also had an interesting finale. In January 2025, after 11 years of imprisonment, Donald Trump granted Ulbricht a full pardon. Ulbricht's case remains controversial to this day. Prosecutors argue that he was responsible not only for drugs, but also for at least 5 attempted contract killings. However, he was never tried for these charges. The thing was, he paid very large sums of money for the murder of 5 people, but he was scammed and deceived. They kept the money, and the killers disappeared. The shutdown of Silk Road did not end darknet markets, it was just the beginning. The largest of Silk Road's successors was AlphaBay, which was founded by Canadian Alexandre Caizes under the pseudonym Alpha02. By 2017, AlphaBay was already several times larger than Silk Road. Hundreds of thousands of products were being sold, ranging from drugs to stolen credit cards. Caizes, of course, was also put on the wanted list, but he was caught shortly after. He made a small mistake. His welcome email, when you registered on the site in the darknet, you would receive an email from him. It was sent to new users, and it contained personal details that led investigators directly to his personal LinkedIn and MySpace profiles. In July 2017, Thai police arrested Caizes in Bangkok. While awaiting extradition, he died in a Thai prison a few days later. That is a story in itself, but what followed is even more interesting. When AlphaBay was shut down, thousands of its users panicked and simultaneously migrated to a specific platform called Hansa, but they did not know that European and Dutch police had already secretly taken control of this platform several months earlier. Law enforcement did not shut down Hansa. On the contrary, they kept it running while quietly collecting data on all new users, IP addresses, emails, passwords, and mailing addresses. The platform effectively turned into a honeypot, a trap that criminals were entering of their own free will. This joint operation, called Operation Bayonet, provided data on thousands of addresses to law enforcement agencies around the world. This is one of the most effective anti-darknet operations in history. One of the largest and longest-running markets in darknet history was Hydra, a Russian-language platform that operated from 2015 to 2022. It was not just a black market for drugs. Hydra offered the creation of fake documents, hacking services, and most importantly, cryptocurrency laundering. Its scale was unimaginable. By the time of its closure in April 2022, the platform had over 17 million registered users, and the revenue generated throughout its entire existence reached approximately $5 billion according to various estimates. This makes it one of the most profitable darknet markets in history. The closure of Hydra was ensured by a joint operation between the United States and Germany. Initially, the servers in Germany were taken down, and then the cryptocurrency was frozen. In December 2024, a Russian court sentenced Hydra operator Stanislav Moiseev to life imprisonment and his 15 accomplices to prison terms ranging from 8 to 20 years. The most dangerous evolution of the darknet is what specialists call a virus. It works like a real business model. On darknet forums, hacker groups create software products that lock companies' computer systems and, most importantly, demand a ransom. Then they rent this product out to other criminals, so-called partners, in exchange for a percentage of the profits. The author of the program does not need to carry out the attack themselves at all. It is enough to create the tool and rent it out. The partners will do the rest. The most famous example of this is the incident in May 2021 when a group called DarkSide carried out an attack on the American company Colonial Pipeline, the largest oil pipeline on the East Coast. The company was forced to temporarily halt fuel supply completely, which led to queues at gas stations and price increases across the entire region. The company ultimately had to pay approximately $4.4 million in cryptocurrency, although the American government recovered a portion of this amount through blockchain analysis. This case clearly demonstrates that the influence of the darknet extends far beyond individual users. It can even destabilize the infrastructure of an entire country. The darknet today in 2026. In recent years, the landscape of the darknet has been changing in its own way. Traditional Tor markets still exist, but much criminal activity is gradually shifting to ordinary well-known applications, especially encrypted messengers, where it is also possible to create anonymous channels. This is logical. Law enforcement agencies have learned to monitor darknet markets, so some criminals are trying to shift to other systems. While watching this video, you probably had a logical question. Is it even legal and lawful to enter the darknet? In most countries, including Georgia, the US and EU countries, using Tor or other anonymous browsers is completely legal. It is not the tool that is illegal, but the specific actions a person might be performing there, buying drugs, purchasing stolen data, and so on. To put it simply, Owning a knife at home is legal, but injuring someone with that knife is not. You might just want to explore the darknet. Is it safe? You might be wondering. Technically, browsing itself does not pose a major risk, although there are many fraudulent and malicious sites on the darknet that try to deceive users or infect their devices. If the darknet is so bad and terrible, why don't they shut it down? Because it is decentralized. There are thousands of independent volunteer-run nodes scattered all over the world in various jurisdictions. No single country's government has the technical or legal leverage to shut down the entire network at once. This architecture, which was originally created for security, today makes it a practically immortal entity. Naturally, the question arises, if Tor is really so anonymous, how do law enforcement agencies catch so many people? The problem is not in the technology itself, but in the human. Small, insignificant mistakes, for example, the criminal has the nickname Destroyer27. Law enforcement started an investigation and it turned out that exactly 15 years ago, someone with that same nickname was posting on some forum claiming to be a very rich and cool guy and that he lived in a specific cool house, after which they contacted that site, requested his IP and figured out where he lived and what his location was. There were also myths circulating on the internet. Red rooms, probably the most common urban legend. As if there is a live stream on the darknet where, in exchange for a certain amount of Bitcoin, a person is mistreated, but all of this is fake. The vast majority of cybersecurity specialists agree that to this day the existence of not a single such site has ever been confirmed. Even from a technical standpoint, this would be extremely difficult and dangerous for criminals because live streaming significantly weakens anonymity, and all those videos you see on the internet are simply either scams or staged scenes. And finally, let's summarize. The history of the darknet teaches us one simple but important truth. Technology itself is neither good nor bad. What matters is who uses it and for what purpose. The same tool that was created for military intelligence today protects journalists from dictators, while at the same time facilitating criminal markets where billions of dollars change hands. Thank you friends for watching the video to the end, and if you found this video interesting, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon. We will soon continue our journey into the dark and bright sides of the internet. Thanks, see you later. And let the keyword be darknet.